Patriotic Party. Good evening and welcome to Eyewitness News, sir.
Good evening, my brother.
Talk to us about the suit you filed in court today in relation to the dismissals by the government.
Thank you very much. You recall that recently the Chief of Staff, on the authority of the President, issued a communique directing all heads of institution to take steps to annul or revoke all appointments made after 7th December. The reasons given were, to him, near end of tenure appointment, and then also against good governance and principles. And we are of the view that these terminations are against the Constitution, and for that matter, we have gone to the Supreme Court to seek a declaration that the directive from the Office of the President dated 10th February 2025 to all heads of government institutions to annul all appointments made in the public service of Ghana after 7th December 2024 violates Article 191B of the Constitution, and same is without just cause and therefore unconstitutional. We are also seeking from the Supreme Court an order in the nature of prohibitory injunction directing at the heads of government institutions to refrain from annulling all these appointments made in the public services of Ghana after the 7th December 2024. So basically, this is it.
Is there a specific legislation that has been breached? Are you saying that to the court, or you are simply talking about governance?
No. I just mentioned it. I said that Article 191B of the 1992 Constitution.
Can you summarize that for me, or I should find it?
Yes, let me just quote. No. I'll get it for you.
191B.
Yes, 191B. Yes, 191B. Let me even give you over. Article 191 of the Constitution provides as follows: a member of the Public Services Commission shall not be victimized or discriminated against for having discharged his duties faithfully or in accordance with the Constitution, or B, dismissed or removed from office or reduced in rank or otherwise punished without any just cause.
So isn't the last clause of that 191B, where the government came under, the just cause being they were recruited through unlawful means? That's what the Minister of State in charge of Government Communication, Felix Kwachofosu, said to me here. That some of them
unlawful means?
Yes.
No, I mean if you look at the
just a second. They said that these people were appointed in December and they were given backdated letters. That is unlawful. And so to the extent that it was unlawful, that's a just cause for removing them. So they are properly covered under one.
No, I think this is a last minute, rationalization, and it is wrong. Look, recruitment is a process, it's not an event. In fact, there are even some, I've seen letters from Exim Bank terminating the appointment of people who have even started work way back, somewhere in October, some in September.
Yeah, the government's point is that these letters were backdated. So
even though they are already there. No, I'm coming. Mm-hmm. They are there. It is not as if they have not even started. They are working. They've started.
So what would be the proof? Because the proof would be whether or not they have been on controller.
So the proof will be in court. We have the letters. They have the appointment letters. They've been there. At least they can show. There will be clock in. There will be clock out. There are a lot of evidence to show that they started working somewhere in September. In fact, because the communique from the Chief of Staff lacked, that proper legal backing, it's been the subject of many abuses. If you go to Ghana Water, for instance, the Chief of Staff says that after 7th December, the communique from Adam Mutawakilu says that all appointments made from November 2024, all these appointments are annulled. If you go to Gridco, the same thing. If you go to GRA, the same thing.
Okay.
So yes, that is the more reason why we're going to court.
Let me
So
ask you,
I'm very sure that the government will prove it.
okay. Let me ask you the political side now, the political question now, which is that you did the same thing when you came to office in 2017. You are a lawyer. You believed at the time it was right. Why is it wrong?
It is not true. It is never true.
You didn't sack anybody when you came to office in
It is
2017?
never true. Look, I was even as NSS. Let me run you through something. Look, NSS, when we came, they had started recruitment. And for NSS, there are some people who will finish, who go through national service, and they still stay on. Sometimes they are voluntary workers for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Their belief is that someday they will be mechanized. So national service had started recruitment processes. They had not involved these volunteers. So the volunteers came together. They petitioned Public Services Commission. And Public Services Commission wrote to National Service that halt the recruitment processes. They did not. They went ahead and they issued letters. And Public Services Commission wrote back to us, telling us that we should start the recruitment processes all over to include all the volunteers. And that was never a moment. Look, I've seen stories on even CTFM saying that nurses, doctors, teachers, policemen, they've passed out. Some in 2017 January, 2017 February, and then all that. I saw a letter from Mr. Ajimamenu when he was the health minister, and he only sought to suspend the recruitment processes of nurses pending some verification and validation. And in that same letter, he indicated that this is not to mean annulment or revocation of or termination of all of these processes. No. So after a month, then the recruitment processes started again. In fact, even now, they had added even more. At that time, they had even added more numbers to it. They had gotten financial clearance to even add more. So nobody can tell me, there is no proof. These are all hearsays. And people were actually using the national service recruitment processes because they said that those people...
Even though Osafo Mafo, when he appeared before Appointments Committee in 2017, I was at that program. He mentioned
the president disagreed with him.
Oh, okay. And did the president come out publicly to announce
that? Yes. And you recall that there was a time my own uncle, Mr. Isibuachin, said that for recruitment, we will consider MP people first. The president forced him, compelled him to apologize.
And still left him as our envoy to South Africa. Anyway, let me move on from that. You have also been mounting a defense for and on behalf of the MPP appointed executive directors of the National Service Scheme following that expose by the Fourth Estate. What is your point, that what has been published is not true, or your point is that your people did no wrong?
No, I mean, it's a shoddy work. It's a lazy journalism. There's no... They didn't do
journalism backed by data, pictures, evidence.
No, let me tell you. This, you sit in your room. Now, National Service, every year, we conduct 4 different types of postings. Every year. There is the main one, the one that will include all public universities, private universities, and technical universities. And that usually is announced somewhere around August, September. We have another one for teachers, and usually it is around December, and then they start somewhere the following year, January. And then we have 2 cohorts of nurses. They start somewhere in April, and then others also come in somewhere in September. What they did was that they picked the publication we usually undertake when we are doing the general national service posting. So, for instance, in 2008, we announced that we have posted 85,000 people. So they picked that figure. And then anytime we are also going through our budget, what we do is that we do a summation of all of these 4 different types of postings. So we do that for the general posting, the teachers, the nurses 1, and the nurses 2. And then we'll submit all of these figures to Parliament. So what they did was that they picked the 85,000, which is meant for the general postings, and then they went to Parliament. They picked the summation of all of these postings, and then they did the subtraction. Then they multiplied it by the national service money, and then said the ghost names I mean, what kind of lazy?
But Nana B, they did not just say ghost names. They actually proved it with ID
They did not
cards.
prove anything. I am telling you this.
There's an instance where one person with the same name appears over 100
So now
times.
that is a different matter.
Let's
deal with it one by one.
There's another
now,
issue where a man in Kenya, his ID card
I'm
is
coming. I'm
used
going
here
to
in
address
Ghana
that.
to
Let's
relate
finish
to
with this. The first issue they raised was the fact that they've seen a discrepancy between the figure that we came out with and then the figure they brought from Parliament. And I'm explaining to you that they did not include the teachers, they did not include the nurses cohort 1, they did not include nurses cohort 2. So that is why I'm saying that they did a shoddy work. Now, secondly, let me also explain the Kenya and then all of these old age matters to you. Look, anytime we open our system, anytime we start national service postings, we have a whole movement of fraudsters. It's a whole cabal. And then what they do is that they attempt to use all manner of information, fake ID cards, fake pictures. They can pick even pictures from everywhere on the internet. They pick pictures on Facebook, they pick somebody's pictures. They do so many things. But you see, again, they did the shoddy work because for our system, you can enter, but you cannot exit. Because at the exit point, you must go physically to the regions, to the municipalities, to the district where you have been posted to do biometric verification. And you see, our payment is on gifts. Our payment is not done on tabletop, or it's not even done by National Service. The payment is done by gifts. And gifts, if you are not biometrically verified, you cannot be paid. So now, if you tell me that a Kenyan entered, now tell me whether that Kenyan was paid or that Kenyan was posted. So all they did was that they went to the entry point where all manner of fake information, right, they attempt to all these manner of fake information there, and then they just got to that entry point. They picked all of this information, and then they created a whole sensational about it. For me personally, I was at National Service from 2017, February to September 2018, right? Yes. For me, I'll take them on. I'm going to sue them for defamation. They have done a reckless job. A reckless, very reckless job. And they create a whole panic. You see, and I think that sometimes in our laws, if you're a journalist and you want to do investigation, for me, I was never caught. Mustafa Yusuf was never caught. He was executive director for 4 years. They never reached out to him. He never left public service. He became the minister. He is still MP. He was never called for any interview. I was never called. So this is how they did their investigation. Because as for our system, you can attempt to use all manner of information, but you cannot exit. Ask them whether they went to GEPS to check whether all of these people they are displaying around, they were paid. The payment is not as easy as they think.
Very well.
So if you pick a general publication figure and then you go to Parliament and you go and pick a figure from there, which is a summation of all the postings, and you subtract, and then you multiply it by the national service allowance, and then you create a whole atmosphere of fear that somebody is looting, milking the state coffers. It is bad. It is so bad. And for me, trust me, I would take them on.
Very well. Thank you.
Because they displayed my picture. The reason why I've mounted this spirited defense is because even I was not there, I would have said that, you know what, excuse me, I'm not part of this, because from 2017, 2018, I wasn't. But I know that that is not how the system works. I know. That is not how the system works. And that is what they did for all the years. They will pick the figure we will publish at the time of posting. They will go to Parliament and pick the figure. They will subtract that figure. They will multiply it by the national service figure and say that, hey, ghost names, people who are chopping money. What is that? What is that?
Let's leave it here. Let's leave it here. Thank you so much. Henry Nana Boakye is a lawyer, national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, speaking to us on the issue of the expose by the Fourth Estate at the National Service Scheme. Let me take you back to our big